8 hours of sitting down, listening, writing. It's a tough, tough gig to then come up and hope to keep your attention for 15 minutes while people are sitting in there eating their salad with placards that have like numbers on it that say 2 minutes, 30 minutes. There's a lot of pressure going on here, ladies. A lot of pressure. But you know something? Bill Lipton gave me a call not too long ago and asked if I would come here and address you. And he said, I know you're busy, but I have to come out here today because it is so good to be in a room full of people who are fighting. And whether you're fighting for labor, whether you're addressing an issue on the public health front, or even criminal justice, it's just very, very good. It feels great to be in a room full of people who are fighting, the great causes. And that's the difference between being in this room and, quite frankly, being in a lot of other rooms throughout this state. You see, because in a lot of other rooms, they're talking about candidates. And they're talking about, what a poll has said, or what the results of this particular campaign means, and therefore what the odds are of electing a particular individual. Those are the sort of conversations that are going on in other rooms. But in this room, it's not just about the candidates, but it's really about the issue. And marrying the issues to the candidates and really creating change. Change that will last, and change that, quite frankly, benefit so many other people who, quite frankly, are not even in this room or may not even touch a person who's in this room. My campaign was, trust me when I tell you this, okay, and I think that Bill is there and Karen's here, and there's a lot of folks who know me very personally. I am perhaps the worst candidate in the history of electoral politics. Listen, I'm going to tell you, here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. I'm stubborn. I tend to have, if I have an opinion, I'll express it on TV. And those people who care about me and who understand politics are behind me going, oh my God, did you just say that? My favorite part of campaigning is knocking on doors. And the thing that I hate the most about campaigns is, I'm not going to say that. But the thing that I hate most about campaigns is having to sit across from someone and having them be disingenuous about issues. My story is brief, my story is quick, okay? I grew up in a community, my family, we came here in the mid-70s. We're immigrants from West Africa, from the Cape Verdean Islands. And we immigrated to Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Both of my parents are mill workers, okay? Union people. And we grew up in a very poor community, but, one where people took care of each other. And they believed in education, and my family, my siblings, we all received a good education. But we were surrounded in our environment by, dope dealers and other people who, quite frankly, their parents didn't have the same philosophies, right? Good people nonetheless. I end up finding myself in Albany, New York, in my late 20s, early 30s. And after having finished law school, I end up working in the district attorney's office because, you know what? Justice, public safety, all the things that rang true to me. I took a job with the district attorney's office. The only job I've ever had in the legal field. And what I found was anything but just. And quite frankly, it wasn't public safety. I took a job and I began working in a processing center where every single person who was being brought into this particular court happened to live within the same 75 blocks of the city of Albany. The same 75 blocks that give us all of our issues, whether it's high dropout rates, teen pregnancy, poverty, right? And what we were doing was processing these folks, right? Bad policy, the policy of overtime in the local law enforcement department. That bad policy of collars for dollars, coupled with the even worse policy of the Rockefeller drug laws. There were so many people whose lives had been impacted, and other people whose lives were being benefited by this process. And I was a part of it. And I couldn't stomach it anymore. I couldn't stomach it anymore because we were putting away a lot of young, nonviolent youth, mostly African American and Hispanic, in prison and in jails. I couldn't do it anymore, and quite frankly, the opportunity that I was given by my former boss. There was Bill Clinton had during the Clinton administration, they had put away hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for local municipalities to begin this thing called community prosecution. It was a proactive problem-solving approach to addressing quality of life offenses and crimes that had proven resistant to our traditional response. And Albany County had been a recipient of this grant and made a mess of it. So of course, my then boss asked the only person in the office with qualifications to become the community prosecutor. I went away and I got training, and to be honest with you, I was on the verge of leaving that office because I had just gotten my fill. But I had gone to this training and it changed my life. It changed my life because what I learned was what we were supposed to be really doing, right? Being proactive, trying to find, prevention programs, working strategies out to end a lot of the offenses that were bringing people in. Long story short, got the training, came back, started doing the work. It was working. It was working. But this is when I got the coalition building, label. And I was frustrated, on the verge of leaving, and on the verge of quitting. I didn't have to do that because I was fired. I was fired after I went and had a meeting with these people. Never heard of the Working Families Party. What? Who is? There's a Citizen Action. It's a place on Central Avenue, right? And I'll never forget my first meeting with these folks. It was the day after I was fired, me and an investigator, a guy who was also fired for being progressive. We walk into this office, and there are people wearing Crocs. Long hair, right? Crocs. Bob Marley gear. I grabbed my investigator by the arm and I'm like, I don't know what we've just done, but maybe there's a 24-hour clause on that termination. And I go get my job back. Ladies and gentlemen, after the first jitters, after those jitters, okay, what happened next not only changed my life, not only opened up my eyes to the possibilities, but it changed a county. It changed the county. These people don't punch in at 9 o'clock in the morning and then punch out at 5. There were days I wish they did. There are days I thought I rolled over and woke up Bill Lipton. There were nights where Karen Sharp was the last person I saw and was the first person I saw in the morning. They are with you. When they are with you, man, they are with you. Okay? And then all the people that they surround you with, all the people that they surround you with are also with you. Ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't a campaign, and it wasn't about a candidate. I just happened to be the fortunate person who was involved in this campaign. It was about an issue. It was about creating a criminal justice system that treated everyone by one standard. It was about a criminal justice system that didn't consistently react and punish, It was about creating a criminal justice system that tried to engage in prevention. It was about creating a criminal justice system that was supposed to be about justice. Right. Yeah. I don't know if I'd ever call myself progressive. Better than being called some of the things I'm called from time to time. Refer to me as progressive if you want. Today, we have a criminal justice system that has an enhanced drug court. A drug court that not only deals with people with drug addiction, but also with alcohol. Today, we have an alternative to incarceration program that takes a lot of nonviolent offenders, and instead of sending them to jail, waiting 2 weeks until you get your PD, then come back and we'll do a time served, today we have a criminal justice system where we send a lot of nonviolent people to community accountability boards. So instead of having to look at me and this face and having to explain to me what happened, they're looking at people who live in their community and trying to negotiate restorative justice agreements. Today, we have a criminal justice system in Albany County that has, now get this, you're going to be shocked. Today, we have a criminal justice system in Albany County that actually has crime victim advocates working in the district attorney's office. Because you know what? Victims are actually part of the criminal justice system, and unless you're treating them with the absolute respect and honor that they deserve, you're never going to be successful in prosecuting cases. Today, the criminal justice system that we have in Albany County has come about, and it is there because of the Working Families Party, of Citizen Action, and the people who volunteered, who committed themselves to this campaign. I want to stop talking about the district attorney's office, and I want to stop talking about my election, and even some other things that I saw mentioned here, and I want to talk to you about this. Today, every one of you sitting in this room, whether it was this afternoon, or yesterday, or the day before, you were listening to the radio or watching the news, and your blood began to boil. Your blood began to boil because of government being shut down, or the budget that was just recently passed in the state of New York, or all of the other injustices that seem to be coming one after the other in 2011. And there are some of you, and some of your friends, that have sat back and they've said, man, there's President, the Senate, the House. And there's a sense of hopelessness because you have people in the minority actually going so far right. I can't even believe we're in the United States of America some days. And there is a sense of frustration. I have it every single day. But you know something? I get to look at myself in the mirror and I'm reminded that change is possible and it can be accomplished if you are with people and you are heading in the same direction, and it's about making life better for other people and not about yourself. That's right. Today, there is nothing I can do about this guy named John Boehner, who spells his name, it sounds like Boner. I can't do anything. Yes. I can't do anything about that. But what I can do is head over to Central Avenue in Albany and go to the Office of Citizen Action and the Working Families Party and get involved in some way, shape, or form. And it may not be Central Avenue where you are from, but that office and that chapter is there. And if they can change the criminal justice system in a place that has historically been so conservative as Albany County, ladies and gentlemen, they can change anything, anywhere. I have been told that my time is up, and I have to applaud all of you because you had food readily available to you to throw at me. I have not experienced the breadcrumb, crouton, or a piece of pasta come in my direction. So you're either really tired or I haven't offended you. In either case, I want to thank you for your kind attention.